vanachari yamunatira vanachari Haya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Ya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, thank you very much. And I'll just go ahead and proceed if I may. So today is Mother's Day, as designated in the West. And so the session today would be focused on mother. And I think we all have wives or mother. Shibani, you have a mother. And Prem Rupa Madhavi Mataji is a mother and she has a mother. So one way or another, we're associated with mother. So we'll speak about that today. We'll start with Mangal Charan prayers. And since one devotee today mentioned that it's nice for people to be able to see the actual meaning, I'll display it. Om Agyantimirandasya Jananjana Shlakaya Chakshuranmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Tadati Swa Padantikam. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisance unto him. When will Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who was established within this material world, the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me the shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Kanvitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and to the feet of all the Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunath Das and Raghunath Bhatt, Gopal Bhatt, and Sheikh Jeev Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisance to the Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Shivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisance to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishaka. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpati Gopisha Gopikanta Radha Kanta Namastute. Oh my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisance unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindavanish Shabanu Sutadevi Pranami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Srimati Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Sri Krishna. Vancha kalpa trubhyascha kripo sindhabhi evacha patita nam pavnebhyo vaishnavyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisance unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of every desire trees and are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. I offer my obeisances to Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadar Shivas and all others in the line of devotion. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama. So of course the Maha Mantra. So today we're speaking about Mother's Day, and hopefully we'll have a nice understanding. So I will start with this verse from Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 8, verse 45. Trayaya cha upanasida cha Sankhya yogascha satvatahi upagamaya mahatmayam harim sa amantaya atmajam. The glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are studied through the three Vedas, the Upanishads, the literatures of Sankhya Yoga, and other Vaishnava literature. Yet, Mother Yashoda considered that Supreme Person, her ordinary child. The glories of Supreme Personality of Godhead are studied through the three Vedas, the Upanishads, the literature Sankhya Yoga, other Vaishnava literature, yet Mother Yashoda considered that Supreme Person her ordinary child. Purport by His Divine Grace. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 15.15, the personality, this is the famous verse, Sarvasya Chaham Hirdesana. By the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the purpose of studying the Vedas is to understand Him. Vedaischa sarver ahameva vidya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained to Sanatana Goswami that there are three purposes of Vedas. One is to understand our relationship with Krishna, Sambandha. Another is to act according to that relationship, Abhideya. And the third is to reach the ultimate goal, Prayojan. The word Prayojan, necessities. And the ultimate necessity is explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prema Pumarthamahan. The greatest necessity for a human being is the achievement of love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here we see that Mother Yashoda is on the highest stage of necessity. Aren't Srila Prabhupada's words just beautiful? Until I read this purport, I had not seen this Prayojan is the necessity. The highest stage of necessity, for she is completely absorbed in love for Krishna. In the beginning, the Vedic purpose is pursued in three ways, Trayi, by Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, and Upasana Kanda. When one reaches a complete perfect stage of Upasana Kanda, one comes to worship Sri Narayan or Lord Vishnu. When Parvati asked Lord Mahadev, Lord Shiva, what is the method of Upasana, worship, Lord Shiva answered, Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Brahm. Vishnu Upasana or Vishnu Aradhana, worship or Lord Vishnu, is the highest stage of perfection as realized by Devaki. But here, Mother Yashoda performs no upasana, for she has developed transcendental ecstatic love for Krishna. Therefore, her position is better than of Devaki. In order to show this, Sri Vyasadeva enunciates this verse, Traya cha upasane dabi, etc. Coming to today's focus, I highlighted it here. When a human being enters into the study of the Vedas to obtain vidya, knowledge, he begins to take part in human civilization. Then he advances further to study the Upanishads and gain Brahmayan, the impersonal realization of absolute truth. And then he advances still further to Sankhya Yoga in order to understand the supreme controller who is indicated in Bhagavad Gita in the famous verse by Sri Arjuna, Param Brahma, Param Dham, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam. When one understands the Purusha, the supreme controller, to be Paramatma, one is engaged in the method of yoga. Dhyana Vishtatat Katena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogina. But Mother Yashoda has all these stages. She has come to the platform of loving Krishna as her beloved child, and therefore she is accepted to be on the highest stage of spiritualization. The absolute truth is realized in three features, Brahmeti, Prameti, Bhagwan iti Shabdyate. But she is in such ecstasy that she does not care to understand what is Brahman, what is Paramatma, or what is Bhagwan. Bhagwan is personally descended to become her beloved child. Therefore, Yashoda's good fortune, as declared by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadu, Vargena Ya Kalpita. The absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead may be realized in different stages, as the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Ye yathaman papadyante tam satami bhajami mam, mama vartma anuvartante manushyam partha sarvasyaha. As men surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Parth. One may be a karmi, a jnani, a yogi, and then a bhakta or prema bhakta. But the ultimate stage of realization is prem bhakti, as actually demonstrated by Mother Yashoda. So here we have that demonstration practically by Mother Yashoda, what it means to have prem bhakti. So Krishna has actually given us how many mothers? He's given us the 7 mothers. Does anybody know who the 7 mothers are? Can you name any of them?
Mother Earth.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu, for starting it. Yes.
Cow.
So, cow. Yes. Who was that? Shibani?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Very good. Anyone else? I'll give a hint. One is today's whose day? Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
Yeah. So one is the physical mother, and then
mother, Stree of Guru.
Yes, the wife of the Guru.
Wife of
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And Rajmata means wife of the king.
Yes. And then, so here it actually comes from Chanakya Pandit. You guys got it. So Atma Mata Guru Patni Brahmani Raja Patnika Dhenur Dhatri Tata Prithvi Sapta Matara Smrtaha. So one's own mother, Mother's Day, the wife of the Guru, the wife of a Brahmin, the wife of a king, the cow, the nurse, and the earth are known as the 7 mothers of a man. So, and that they should be remembered. Mata Smrtaha. So Srila Prabhupada says something, on this statement here. Let me find it. So he says this is in one of his lectures. So according to our Shastra, there are 7 mothers. Adau Mata, real mother, from whose body I've taken birth. She is mother. Guru Patni, the wife of the spiritual master. She is also mother. Adau Mata Guru Patni Brahmani, the wife of a Brahman. She is also mother. Adau Mata Guru Patni Brahmani Raja Patnika, the queen is also the mother. So how many? Adau Mata Guru Patni Brahmani Raja Patnika, then Dhenu. Dhenu means cow. She is also mother. And Dhatri. Dhatri means nurse. So Dhenu, Dhatri, Tata, Prithvi, also the earth. So earth is also the mother. The people are taking care of the motherland where he's born. That is good. But by the by, they should also take care of mother cow. But they're not taking a mother. So, so the point here is that there are 7 mothers. And out of them, you will notice 5 are human or in human body, and 2 are not, Mother Earth and the cow. So we're blessed that in our association, we have so many mothers, the physical mother, the mother of the Guru, etc., etc., the wife of the Guru, the wife of the Brahman, Mother Cow, Mother Earth. We don't a king, in a way, like President Biden's wife, I guess, or Prime Minister Modi's wife could, I guess, in a way be the wife of a king, but who knows? So we're used to this. We have this very good, I think, as devotees practicing in ISKCON, we have this, fair awareness of Mother Yashoda and her loving relationship with her son, Gopal. I wanted to, so the idea is Lord Krishna appears in the material world in incarnations. Sometimes he appears as Lord Ram, who has mother Kaushalya, and sometimes he appears as Krishna Bhagwan, who has mother Yashoda, and he appears in different forms, different lands, among different people in other spiritual practices. So at all times, no matter what the circumstance, the land, the culture, the people, his mission is the same, to teach. That's what Srila Prabhupada says, Ye tamam papadiyante. He ended this verse with this idea. That what's the idea? The idea is to teach love of God as the, what did we see here? What did Srila Prabhupada called it? If you looked here carefully, the prime necessity, the highest necessity. He translated prayojan in this verse that we started out with 10.8.45 as the word prayojan means necessities, and the ultimate necessity is explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So once I read this part about ultimate necessity is explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and today being Mother's Day, I thought we'll kind of just go into Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's relationship with Mother Sachi. So Lord Chaitanya, who's none other than Supreme Personality of Godhead, but descended to teach us how to actually love God. As Srila Prabhupada says, Krishna ends by Sarva Dharma Pratiyaje, but actually how to do that, how to do that Sharanam, Lord Chaitanya shows how to do that by taking on the role of Krishna's pure devotee. And a really wonderful pastime is of Lord Chaitanya's relationship with how he was exemplary. He showed what a child, how he or she loves their mother, and his mother Sachi Devi showed how a mother loves their child. So an ideal relationship, just like between Krishna and Mother Yashoda, between Lord Ram, Delia, etc. So ideal relationship between enlightened, loving mother and a Krishna's conscious son. Of course, Lord Chaitanya is Bhagwan, but in this role, he's playing that. So when Lord Chaitanya, Nimai, was still a boy, his older brother, whose name is Vishwarup, accepted the renounced order of life, sannyas. I downloaded this really nice picture. So this is from the Yoga Pit of where there's Jagannath Mishra, Lord Chaitanya's father, and his mother Sachi Devi, the deities of them holding Bal Chaitanya Nimai. So Lord Chaitanya's older brother, Vishwarup, accepted the renounced order of life, sannyas, left home, as sannyasis do, on preaching mission. And his leaving Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi caused them great distress. But Lord Chaitanya reassured them that by accepting sannyas, that his elder brother Vishwarup was actually giving the best service possible to his family. Because the Vedic scriptures, we know this from the past of God and Dhruva, they confirm that if one becomes Krishna's pure devotee, his parents and many generations of relations, forefathers preceding and afterwards, are liberated and attain to the spiritual world. So to remind his parents that Vishwarup was actually doing a very high service for the family was part of the way in which Lord Chaitanya consoled his bereaved mother. So to further comfort her, he remained at home, and you can read all of what I'm saying in Chaitanya Bhagavat, which is very sweet. And he remained at home, and then eventually he married after his father left his body. And at the age of 24, we know that Lord Chaitanya, if we read Chaitanya Bhagavat, left his mother and his wife and entered into sannyas ashram, the renounced order. And the reason, like we said, was the same as the reason that his brother, Vishwarup, did this to expand the preaching mission. And also specifically for Lord Chaitanya, he specifically left to expand the Sankirtan movement, to propagate the congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So Lord Chaitanya did this because he was overwhelmed with ecstatic love of Krishna. So he wanted, because the description in Chaitanya Bhagavat is particularly wonderful, where it describes him wandering from place to place, and he wanted to go to Vrindavan because he wanted to have that association with Lord Krishna. He was missing him so much. But he lost his awareness, and instead of going to Vrindavan, he was basically for 3 days wandering around the bank of the Ganges at Navadvip, not Vrindavan, but in Bengal. Finally, his associates, Sri Advaita Acharya and Nityananda, Sri Nityananda, talked him into coming into Advaita Acharya's home, and he did that. But it was not easy for him to do that. So when he came, a meeting occurred between him and mother at Sri Advaita Acharya's home, and it was filled with happiness, but also with sadness, because they both were overwhelmed upon seeing each other. Because of course, there's the physical bond of mother-son, but there's also the bond between that bhakta vatsala aspect of the Lord and the mood of a mother. So when she saw the Lord, when she saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without hair, because as part of the ritual of taking sannyas, his head was shaved, she became very disturbed, and she started kissing him and trying to look at him, but because her eyes were filled with tears, she could not see him. So she said, "Don't act like your elder brother, please, Vishwarup, who took sannyas and never visited me again." So Lord Chaitanya said to her, my dear mother, though I have accepted the sannyas ashram, I shall never be indifferent to you. So he stayed at Sri Advaita Acharya's home for many days. You can see that if you go to Shridham Mahapur and the home of Shivas Pandit, Shivas Sangam. So, and day and night, they basically were chanting the Maha Mantra incessantly because they were in a mood of ecstatic love, Lord Chaitanya and all his associates. And at that time, Mother Sachi was actually doing the cooking for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the devotees. And she would, of course, see that during the kirtan, it's described the amazing kirtans where Lord Chaitanya would become so ecstatic that sometimes his arms would shrink into his body, and sometimes they would get very elongated. Sometimes he would jump so high in the air and then fall on the ground. And of course, Mother Sachi, being his caring mother, would get very distressed because she would just pray to Lord Vishnu that he protect her son from getting hurt. So after some days, Lord Krishna said, Lord Chaitanya gathered all the devotees and said that as long as I remain manifest on this earth, I can never give up my mother. That is true. But by accepting sannyas, a sannyas ashram requires some external behavior, because sannyasis, in a way, renounce household life, but symbolically, what they're doing is accepting the entire world as their house. But he said, but after accepting sannyas, the etiquette is that the sannyas should not remain in his birthplace surrounded by relatives. So please make an arrangement so that I may not leave you, but at the same time, people can't blame me for remaining at home surrounded by relatives. So they approached Mother Sachi Mata, on what to do, because of course she's his mother. And she said, it'll be great happiness to me if Nimai, that's all she always called him, Nimai, Lord Chaitanya stays here in Navadvip, of course. But at the same time, if someone blames him, then it will be a source of great unhappiness. So here's my proposal. Let Nimai live in Jagannath Puri, right? We know Nimai Pandit left for Jagannath Puri. Then he will not leave any of us, And at the same time, he can remain, conforming to sannyas ashram etiquette. So because Jagannath Puri and Navadvip are so close, so that's the reason that Lord Chaitanya did not leave for Vrindavan right away. And I'll be able to get news of Lord Chaitanya Nimai frequently, because I don't care for my personal happiness, but only for his happiness. So I accept as my happiness. So Lord Chaitanya remained in Jagannath Puri for his entire remainder of his pastime. He the only time he left Jagannath Puri was when he went on his tour to South India, when he went to Sri Rangam, and then down into Tamil Nadu and Kanyakumari, and then Anant Padmaswamy, etc., coming up the tip of South India and to Guruvayur. So, but other than that, that he stayed there for the rest of his existence on this earthly planet. So during that pastime, the devotees would come from Navadvip and bring food that was cooked by his mother, especially Sachimata. And Lord Chaitanya, in reciprocation, because we know from Nectar of Instruction that one of the loving exchanges is to accept gifts and give and share gifts. So Lord Chaitanya himself would take prasadam from Jagannath temple and ask the devotees to take it to his mother and beg his forgiveness for having entered the renounced order. So we can see that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was exemplary in his behavior. He wasn't uncaring of the suffering of his mother. He was exemplary. So in this way, despite their physical separation, Lord Chaitanya and his mother had found actually a very good way and practical way of having association, so that their separation was there physically, but spiritually their separation was not there. And so because of this, his associates always glorified him by saying Jai Sacinandana, Jai Sacinandana. And of course, we're fortunate to have Shri Nitai Sacinandan, meaning all glories to the son of Mother Sachi. So, that just most devotees know very well about, this love between Lord Krishna and his mother Yashoda, but some of us about the deep love between Mother Sachi and how expert she was in her love of Lord Chaitanya and how expert he was in reciprocating with her. So Lord Chaitanya is also called Vishwambhar, right? Does anybody know what Vishwambhar means? Anybody want to warrant a guess? What does Vishwambhar mean?
One who floods the world with happiness, or
yes, that's one. The exact when I looked it up, the exact meaning is Vishwa means the universe, and Amba means the nurse. Isn't that interesting? The nurse of the universe. So Lord, so he's called Vishwambhar, the universal mother who feed. What does the universal mother give us? She feeds us what? In this form, she feeds us the Mahamantra, pours the nectar of the holy name into our ears. Because she knows that if we agree to drink it, then this will open our eternal happiness, our eternal necessity, as described by Srila Prabhupada, right? So, so in that way, Lord Chaitanya is a wonderful nurse, right? And he shows by his example how to be this mother shows how to be a good parent. So there's this one really sweet thing that Giriraj Swami wrote, and I've seen this for many years, but it's from Srila Prabhupada. Narottam Vilas Prabhu, can you see this screen? Mother's love?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So he says, they're very exalted. This is from Srila about this Prayers of Queen Kunti 1.8.31, where she describes about the amazing quality of Mother Yashoda. So he says they're very exalted spiritual understandings in Krishna consciousness. They're not fictional, imaginary, or concocted. They're facts, and every devotee can have the privilege to understand and indeed take part in Krishna's pastimes if he's actually advanced. We should not think that the privilege given to Mother Yashoda is not available to us. Everyone can have a similar privilege. If one loves Krishna as one's child, then one will have such a privilege because the mother has the most love for the child. Even in this material world, there's no comparison to a mother's love. For a mother loves her child without any expectation of return. Very important. Even in this material world, there's no comparison to a mother's love, for a mother loves her child without any expectation of return. Of course, although that is generally true, this material world is so polluted that a mother sometimes thinks my child will grow up, become a man, and when he earns money, I shall get it. Thus, there may still be some desire to get something exchanged, but while loving Krishna, there are no selfish feelings, for that love is unalloyed, free from all desires for material gain. Free from all desires for material gain. You should not expect anything. That is real love, just like a mother is loving her child, not expecting any return, but she still gives service. So that is a little sample of pure love. Srila Prabhupada talk on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, verse 31, April 23rd, 1973, Los Angeles, and conversation in New York. So when I read this portion where it says, there is no comparison to for a mother loves her child without expectation of return, I remembered this poem that I had read by a very famous poet by the name of Khalil Gibran. Have any of you heard of Khalil Gibran? He's not from our Sampradaya per se, but very well recognized poet. And he wrote a very famous book. He's Lebanese by birth and Christian by background with Islamic tradition. So he wrote this very famous book in 1960 called The Prophet. I think it was 1960, or maybe that was when it was released. I don't remember off the top. And it's a renowned book about kind of almost like Jaiva Dharma, about Prophet and his instructions taken from the script. So let me, without further ado, read it to one of you, or Narottam Vilas Prabhu, or any of you that are. Is there a Mataji who can turn on her mic and read this?
I can
Can you
read
see?
them.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, please read.
Okay. On Children by Khalil Gibran. And a woman who held a babe against her bosom said, "Speak to us of children." And he said, "Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the boughs from which your children as living arrows are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. For even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Beautiful, huh? Just beautiful. I don't know whether you've all seen this before. It's a beautiful and consistent. Your children are not your children. So this is the prophet speaking to a mother. They are the sons and daughter of life's longing for itself. Notice the capitalization of lives. So what is he talking about? He's making a statement that a mother or a parent has to treat their children not as their own. Why does the speaker on this poem say this? You have to understand the statement, your children are not your children. And when you think about that and think about our scriptures as well as the scriptures of every other spiritual practice, the soul belongs to one and only one person. Who's that? Bhagwan, Supreme Personality Godhead. So here he's referring to that personality as life, lives. So this is Paramatma. He's referring to the universal soul or the supreme life. So, and if you look at the life of Mother Yashoda and the life of Sachimata, they exemplified this. They did not have expectations from their children of you should do this, you should do that. So this is very practical. Children are not your children. They're sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, meaning they take birth from you, but they're not from you. Why? Because they're from Bhagavan. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. Why? Because they might be part of your body, but they belong to Bhagavan. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, because every jiva carries their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, meaning you can give you can give the external material covering of the body, but of course, that's not their true essence. For the soul dwells in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. House of tomorrow, referring to the future spiritual life. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. Meaning you want them to become the perfect them. Life goes not backward nor tarries with yesterday. Lord Krishna has created a system where everybody's on the path to the spiritual world. You are the bows from which your children as living arrows are sent forth, meaning you help shape them. The archer sees a mark upon the path of the infinite, meaning the spiritual world, and he bends you with his, that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be of gladness, for even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. So wherever he's saying he, his, those are all capitalized because they're referring to Bhagavan. So a very interesting and wonderful instruction for mothers and fathers and children and devotees. So Srila Prabhupada, I have a comment here by Srila Prabhupada, and this is in that verse from Kunti, where in chapter 8, canto 1, she says, my dear Krishna, she's speaking to Krishna as he's about to leave the Pandavas. My dear Krishna, Yashoda took up a rope to bind you when you committed an offense, and your perturbed eyes overflooded with tears, which washed the mascara from your eyes. And you were afraid, though fear personified is afraid of you. This sight is bewildering to me. Srila Prabhupada, I picked this verse because of this purport here. Don't think that the privilege was given to Mother Yashoda. It's not exactly like that. Everyone can have that privilege. If you love Krishna as your child, you will have such a privilege because the mother loves the most. Nobody in this material world, there's no comparison of mother's love. Without any exchange, even in this material world, mother loves a child without any expectation of return. That's why I brought up that poem by Khalil Gibran. Generally, although in this material world it is so polluted, sometimes may think child will grow up, etc. This, the verse the comment I read by Giraj Maharaj. There's some still feelings of exchange, but while loving Krishna, there's no such feeling of exchange. That is called unalloyed love. Anya Bilashita Sunyam Bhakti Rasmita Sindhu 1.1.11. Free from all material gain. We should not love Krishna for some material gain. It is not that Krishna gives us our daily bread, then I love you. Krishna gives me this, then I love you. There's no such exchange that is wanted. Krishna wants that kind of love. So here's that position, Yate Dasa Dasa. When as soon as Krishna saw Mother Yashoda, he's coming to this verse here. He's coming back to it. As soon as Krishna saw Mother Yashoda is coming with a rope to bind him, so he immediately becomes very much afraid, so that tears come out. Oh, mother is coming to bind me. Yate das ashru kalila angyan. And the ointment is being washed off, and sambrahma. And with great respect, looking to the mother with feeling, yes, mother, I have offended you. Kindly excuse me. This was the scene of Krishna. So that scene is appreciated by Kunti, and immediately his head became downward. So this is another Krishna's perfection, that although he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in Bhagavad Gita he says, Mata Pratam Nanyat Kanchid Asti Dhananjaya, 7.7 Gita, my dear Arjun, there's no superior being above me. I'm the supermost. Mata Prataram Na Anyat, there's nobody else. That Supreme Personality of Godhead above whom there's none. That Supreme Personality of Godhead is bowing down before Mother Yashoda. Ninya, Bhaktram Ninya. He's accepting, my dear mother. Yes, I'm a offender. So, this is very wonderful. I had read, coming back, to the General Mother's Day, I read a wonderful quote that His Holiness Bhakti Rasmita Maharaj shared of great personalities in the past, where he paraphrased and said, whatever I am today is due to the care, affection, training, and selfless love of my mother. You don't hear that often, sometimes, in this world, or even sometimes in ISKCON, but it's true. You can see that in the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj. When Dhruva Maharaj became liberated and was flying to the spiritual world, he immediately turned on his Viman, he immediately turned to the Vishnudutas and said, where's my mother? And he looked down, he saw the Vishnu, that his mother was coming along in an airplane as well. And Srila Prabhupada, when he was talking about that pastime, said, just like that when you go to the spiritual world, I hope you remember to bring me along, in all of his great humility. So we see that in Dhruva Maharaj's pastime. We see that in Prahlad Maharaj's pastime, where he has appreciation for his father, even though what his father did, etc. You see that in the pastime of Lord Ram. So today we don't hear such things, that, like Bhakti Rasmita Maharaj said, whatever I am today is due to the care, affection, training, and selfless love of my mother. So what's the lesson? Is that unless we learn to respect and honor our physical mothers, one of our 7 mothers, then we will never truly protect all the other 6 other mothers that we talked about, like the wife of Brahman, the wife of Guru, etc., the cow, Mother Earth. They cannot be fully respected and valued. So on that note, I'll end. today. There's so much to, I thought since there would be hopefully some mothers, they could speak about, what it's like to be a mother, what they particularly appreciate. So there's Premrupa Madhavi Mataji, I think. At the beginning, those of you that weren't present, her son was playing piano. So maybe, I don't know, the Nartan Vilas Prabhu can Premrupa Madhavi Mataji talk about what it's like to have a mother and be a mother.
Krishna Prabhuji. So
Hare
have a
Krishna.
mother, have a mother. I can, I think, resonate to what Maharaj was saying, that everything I am today is because of her. Of course, my father supported,
Sure.
but also my dad as well. But yeah, that selfless love and everything, for sure. Nothing can compare to a mother. Even Srila Prabhupada said that we don't know how much Krishna loves us, but the only thing that can resonate in this world is the love of a mother to the child, not the other way around. Even mother's love to the child. So yeah. Then regarding being a mother, yeah, I don't, there are so many mothers here in the group who can speak more. Even Mataji and your mother. I still remember how much she used to glorify you to us also, and the pride that she.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's material.
No.
But
Yeah, in the mother's side, their child.
so what have you appreciated the most about motherhood now that you have a child?
Appreciated.
There's lots of challenges, of course, but
yeah, no, it's just when you see them smile, everything is worth it, and
that's wonderful because that's wonderful when we know from Canto Chapter 1, Canto 8, when Kunti finished, what did Lord Krishna do?
Yeah, he just smiled at her.
He just smiled.
Yeah.
And that smile was everything.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other mothers online? I see Neela Anita Mataji. Anita Mataji, do you have a child?
Oh, not yet, Prabhu.
Okay. I know Shibani is a child, but her mother, Ganga Mataji, is mother also. So, Neela Mataji, would you like to talk about being a mother, what your realizations are? Before I start asking the Prabhus on being mothers. Okay, I guess I'm not going to get much response. So I will end with that. Does anybody want to? There are lots of wonderful devotees, Manmali Prabhu, Paramakiran Prabhu, Madhusudan Prabhu, Prasad Prabhu. Any rest of you want to speak about your appreciation for your mothers? Because we all have mothers.
Prabhuji, before, till somebody else thinks of something to say, I wanted to share something. This is my realization. Krishna is actually a mama's boy. He really, really is. He loves his mother more than anybody. It's true when he came as Krishna himself with Yashoda Mai, and then even with Sachi Mata and Nimai, as you're showing this beautiful picture here, he was such a mama's boy. He actually, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he even tells his mom, because when he takes sannyasa, when Sachimata comes to see him with tears in her eyes, she says that, please do me this favor of being in Jagannath Puri, and if I can see you, then know this for certain that I'm going to end my life. Because what's the point? I had an elder son. He also left me, and now you're also leaving. And then he says that, you gave me this body, so you have the biggest right over me than anybody. If I cannot listen to what you're saying and repay you, then what's the point of me living? So you own me. I am yours. So for sure, I will stay in Puri as you requested. So big mama boy.
Yep. Thank you for remembering that. Yeah, once you said that, I thought I remembered that past. I thought once you started speaking, I thought of another thing. When we had Hari Prasad Prabhu last year talking about the pastime of Putana, and then at the end of that 3-part series, I said to him, we've heard a lot of glories about Mother Yashoda. Can you speak about the glories of Nanda Baba, Nanda Maharaj? And he spoke about the pastime of when Lord Krishna, the twin Arjun trees fell when Lord Krishna dragged his mortar in between the 2 trees. And of course, that occurred in the background of Mother Yashoda tying him up, right, to the Damodar. Where is that one? I somehow there. And so once he did that, and the tree fell, all the Brajval, and were very disturbed because they were worried what happened to my child, Lord Krishna, Bal Gopal, and Lord Krishna. Like sometimes kids will tattletale on one parent or the other, complained that Yashoda Mai did this and that, and that I don't want to be with her, I don't want to see her, etc. And do you guys remember what Hari Prasad Prabhu said, how Nanda Maharaj adjusted the situation? So Nanda Maharaj said, just kind of, he had Krishna in his lap, and so he picked up his hand, like when somebody acts like they're going to, so he said, should I do this? And all of a sudden, Krishna became like this boy. He immediately melted and remembered and displayed his true affection and love for her, and all was forgiven in the land of love and trust, which is Sri Vrindavan Dham. So thank you for sharing that pastime of him being a mama's boy. And so when you mentioned it, I thought of that particular loving exchange between Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Mai, and Bal Gopal. Other comments? Nobody here has anything of appreciation to say to their mother? Really?
Prabhu, I have one more thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So you were asking about the 7 mothers, and everyone was sharing who the 7 mothers were. So it's a nice time for us to reflect, given the condition that the world is in right now, to reflect and appreciate Mother Earth. Also, we just celebrated Earth Day and so forth. So all this is a good breather that we human beings, the least respectful of her children, are sitting at home and giving her a breather, and so she's recuperating well.
Yeah, connecting everything through Krishna's love is, through love of Krishna is, like Srila Prabhupada, Prayojan means the prime necessity. And what's that prime necessity? The achievement of love for personal Godhead. Because my spiritual master always likes to say, there's Krishna and Krishnas. And everything in the material and spiritual world is that. Krishna and Krishnas. So, yes, we need to be thoughtful about those sorts of things as well. Okay, so
I also wanted to
oh yes, please share.
Yeah, my mom, Prabhuji, when I was hearing this, I can also feel that, or I am my mama's boy as well. The amount of love and affection she has, and the blessings she has showered on me. Sometimes I compare with my brother, and I feel I was always lucky that even between those brothers and siblings, you sometimes feel your mom loves you more than your other siblings.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing about mothers, how they can give love to so many children and still make it like really personal.
Yeah,
they're very, very wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and you have lots of mothers in your house with, Mother Mataji and Vicha Mataji, and I'm sure all the children are very happy being loved so much. Others? Thank you, Madhusudana Prabhu. Anybody else want to share?
Hi Krishna Prabhu, I was just thinking about this. It's wonderful how we address every like female devotee as Mataji, right?
Yes.
That's just amazing. I mean, it says how powerful the word is, and it designates like mother, and
Yes.
yeah. And yeah,
Well,
I'm also very close to my mother, and yeah, it's amazing. As Prabhu just said, when it comes to siblings, I remember she telling me, "You're like my right eye, and my sibling is like my left eye." Both, like I can't. We need both the eyes, and there's no point just having one. And yeah, and I wish a very very happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
yes, happy Mother's Day to everybody. Okay, so thank you all. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, our spiritual mother, Srila Prabhupada. So, Vansa kalpa tribhyascha kriposindhabhi eva cha patitanam pavanabhyo vaishnavyo namo namaha. I'm sorry that the scheduled devotee wasn't able to speak. He had an unplanned activity or emergency situation. So we'll hear from him at a later time. We're going to switch to Kirtan and Arti Kirtan. So is our Narottam Vilas Prabhu, is the temple video available or no?
Unfortunately, it's too zoomed in and we can only see Vrinda Devi, another beautiful mother.
Yes. So maybe
I'll show the pictures, yeah.
Yeah, are you the driver today? Right now of the internet website? You're going to show?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so Bhakti Rasa, being a mother, is engaging Arpana in chanting.
Right.
So I'll stop. I guess I'll stop screen sharing, right? Stop, and then I'll switch over. I'll turn on the video once I have her. Say something.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. Wishing all the mothers and mamas out there happy Mother's Day. We're so grateful for everything that you do. And there's so many wonderful mother figures in our community. Just wanted to extend a heartfelt Hare Krishna, Haribol, and my gratitude for all of the inspiring service that you all do.
Premrupa Madhavi Mataji, is she visible? I had to move my computer.
Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Sunyavadi Vasyatyaje Sadarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Thank you, devotees. Shri Sacinandana Ki Jai. I believe William is doing Nrsinga Day prayers. So on to you, William. Temple is open between 1 to 2:30. Please join.
Okay. Hare Krishna. May we begin? Okay. We'll start. Namaste Narasim Haya.
Namaste Narasim Haya.
Namaste Narasim Haya.
Namaste Narasim Haya.
Prahlad Dayine. Ahir Narsimha Hriday Narsimha Ahir Narsimha Hriday Narsimha Narasimhamadim Sharanam Prapade Narasimhamadim Sharanam Prapade Avakara Kamalavare Nakamadbhuta Shingam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringham Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Avakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shingam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Tavakara Kamana Hare Adbhuta Shingam Jaya Narsimhadev, 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 Jaya Narsimhadev. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Shila Gurudev, Gurudev, Haribol together. Nitai Gora Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribol, Nitai Gaur Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribol. Jai Shri Sri Nrsimhadev Bhagwan ki, Bhakti Shiromani Srila Prahlad Maharaj ki, Jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, William Shrikar, all the devotees and Jamilas. Hare Krishna. Please join us to the temple for darshan and prasadam. Happy Mother to all the children, who we all are, and all the mothers. Thank you. Take care. Stay safe.